Is it still worth buying a mini hatchback in 2025? Well, Honda sure thinks so, and the Brio RS is the answer to that question. Welcome to the garage on Ride By. With small hatchbacks gradually becoming a dying breed, is it still worth buying a compact hatchback these days? Well, Honda sure thinks so, and the Honda Brio RS has long been one of the most popular Segment A hatchbacks in the local market. So styling-wise, this car kind of reminds me of the first generation Honda Jazz, with the Jazz name long gone and the city hatchback now replacing that void that the Jazz left. For many first-time car buyers and lovers of small cars like myself, the Honda Brio is the spiritual successor to the Jazz. Let's take a look at the styling of this vehicle. So up front, everything has been modernized. It gets full LED lights with this large, sporty-looking grille with this very prominent RS badge. So the RS moniker has become known to symbolize performance, sporty driving. Well, in the case of the Brio, it's really just a cosmetic package because, it looks very sporty, but underneath its skin, it is through and through an economy hatchback. Moving on here to the side, the Brio RS continues this sporty look with side skirts and two-tone alloy wheels. So yung gulong niya is 15 inches with these two-tone diamond finished alloy wheels. Bridgestone Potenza RE030 tires measuring 185/55 R15. So these are some really good tires for an economy hatchback like this. And it really translates to really sharp and dynamic handling, all things considered. Now, the Honda Brio measures in at 3,811 millimeters long, 1,682 millimeters wide, and 1,487 millimeters high. There's a wheelbase of 2,405 millimeters and a respectable ground clearance of 137 millimeters. As for curb weight, the Brio RS weighs in at 992 kilograms. The Brio RS keeps it basic but solid with dual airbags and ABS with EBD. It's built on Honda's G-Con body structure, which is engineered to absorb and redirect crash energy, just like the bigger models. Those of you familiar with the old Brio would know it had a 1.3 L13 engine. Well, Honda has updated this with a 1.2 inline-4 naturally aspirated single overhead cam engine with iVTEC. It produces 89 horsepower and around 110 Nm of torque, which is respectable for city driving, but you will feel its limitations once you get out on the highway. Moving on to the interior of the Honda Brio RS, let's talk about some of the good aspects first. So yes, you get a good old-fashioned key, turn to start. So, good things of the interior are, you get quite a lot of cubby holes here. You get a cubby here for some cards, a cubby here for your wallet, but your phone won't fit in here. You get a pocket here for your sunglasses and your phone, and two cup holders. Also, the infotainment system is fairly simple. No nonsense, wired Apple CarPlay and wired Android Auto, and that's about it. Now for the not so good. So this car is obviously built to a budget, so it doesn't get any leather. You get a plastic polyurethane steering wheel, no soft touch materials everywhere, everything is hard plastic. Of course, no leather seats, you get basic fabric here, as well as a basic rubber coated shift knob over here for the automatic transmission. Now, let's take a look at the instrument cluster. As you can see, it's an analog instrument cluster that's very simple and easy to read. On the left, you get your tachometer. Right in the middle, you get your speedometer. And on the right, you get your fuel gauge. In the middle, you get a digital display that shows you what gear you're on, the clock, and a variety of info such as your average fuel consumption, your trip, and your odometer. Okay, moving on to the back seats of the Brio RS, let's again take a look at the good and the not so good. Good is this very impressive leg room. I'm 5'8" and I have a lot of leg room, enough for me to slouch and relax. I also get a lot of headroom, even if I sit upright. Now, moving on here to the middle is the not so good, is because it's a bit cramped here. As you can see, you're gonna want to keep your legs together. And if you're any taller than I am, your head will hit the ceiling. So I'm sitting upright, 5'8". My hair is already brushing on the ceiling. So if you're 5'9", if you're 6 foot, that's pretty much out of the question. You do, however, get these pockets here for practical stuff. You get a cup holder here, which is shared for the front seat passengers, and smaller cup holders in the door cards. No flip-down armrest here. It's all very basic, all very functional, and built to last. Let's take a look at the cargo bay. You get 258 or so liters of storage with this configuration, but it's very easy to fold the seats down. Take note, hindi siya 60-40. It just flips down as one piece on its own like that. Now, as you can see, it misses out on Honda's ULT seats. It just folds out, hindi siya perfectly flat, but it's more than enough for you to have enough space to put maybe golf bags, maybe a couple of balikbayan boxes, and some luggage for your out-of-town trips. So now let's hit the road and see what this is like to drive. Okay guys, so we are now behind the wheel of the Honda Brio RS, and right off the bat, if any of you are familiar with the first generation Brio, mapapansin nyo agad na this one is much more refined and much smoother, albeit a bit slower to pick up pace, and that's because it now has a smaller 1.2-liter engine and it also has a CVT. So it produces around 89 horsepower and 110 Newton meters of torque. Not a lot of power, not a lot of torque. Pero it's good enough na you don't really have to be so... Yung dating version kasi medyo sensitive yung throttle. This one feels a lot more relaxed to drive, especially on regular drive eco mode. Pero if you want a bit more sporty driving, no, there is a sport mode. You just shift this gear stick down one notch to the S, which is sport. So right away, kita mo, tumataas ng konti yung revs. Instead of just hovering around 1,500 RPM, the revs go up to mga 2,000, 2,500 RPM. So may konting engine brake, tas when you step on the gas even just a little, it kind of picks up pace. The revs really rise quickly. And that's good kasi this gives this car kind of a dual personality. So in traffic, mabait siya. Tas pag open roads, twisty roads, highway driving, it becomes a little bit more responsive. As for fuel economy, we averaged around 13.1 kilometers per liter with mixed city and highway driving. Take note that includes bumper-to-bumper traffic around the city. Okay, so one thing you will notice when you're driving this thing in the city, and if you park it in reverse or you're just making maniobra, wala siyang reverse cam, no? So that might be something you can add in the aftermarket, but out of the box, it doesn't come with a reverse cam. It does, however, have parking sensors. As you can hear, there, parking sensors meron, pero wala siyang reverse cam. So that might be a deal breaker for you, but you can get a reverse cam for like a couple of $1,000 on Lazada, Shopee, and have it installed by your trusted aftermarket specialist. So now that we are hitting again the open road, let's talk about the handling of the Honda Brio RS. So as I mentioned a while ago during the walk around, it gets McPherson's up front and torsion beam at the back. Okay naman siya. It's sprung a bit softly because, of course, it's a daily drivable car. It's not really a sporty hatchback. Pero the tires are really good. The Bridgestone Potenza tires, very grippy. You actually find those tires on high-end performance-focused sedans and hatchbacks, and it really pays dividends when it comes to keeping the car glued to the tarmac. And when you're driving on cement roads, not asphalt roads, cement roads, some noise and vibrations will enter the cabin, but it's not that bad. It feels like the cabin is very well insulated. So that's a big plus on Honda's part. Lalo na if you take this car out on the highway, let's say pupunta kayo ng Star Toll na the roads aren't exactly perfect, you will hear a little bit of noise, pero it's bearable naman. Braking naman, so the brakes of this car, you get disc brakes up front and drum brakes at the back. Par for the course for the segment A hatchback segment. Pero okay naman yung braking response. It feels, the initial bite, you'll baka magulat ka kasi the initial bite isn't sharp. It's a bit medyo dull. You have to step a bit harder on the brake. But then as you go through the travel of the brake pedal, you can feel naman na linear yung braking force niya. And that's good for both driving around the city and for those of you who enjoy spirited driving on twisty roads. So for Honda fans, a lot of us fell in love with Hondas because of that classic high-revving inline-4 engine sound. Thankfully, with the Brio, despite it being a much more modern iVTEC engine with a CVT, it allows you to rev it out, especially in sport mode. So I flicked it onto sport, and you can rev the engine, and you can hear it really sounds. It sounds like the good old B series or the D series engines that you find in the Civic before. A lot of induction noise. You can hear some of that exhaust noise. And of course, in true typical Honda fashion, the aftermarket for a car like this, for the Honda Brio RS, is very rich. You can choose, you can spec out aftermarket intake systems, exhaust systems, suspension, wheels, and tires. So basically, it is the perfect blank canvas if you're like us who like customizing their cars, no? Okay, so now if you take this car out of town, inevitable na makakadaan ka sa mga, roads under construction or imperfect roads like this. So ground clearance for small hatchbacks is usually not the best. Of course, this one is no exception, but it has around 137 mm of ground clearance. And in roads like this, or actually the lack of roads na ganito, kayang-kaya naman. Extra alalay lang. So just slow down. Make sure you study the topography of the road. Iwasan nyo yung mga malalalim na dips. Just choose a line and you'll be able to go through, no problem. So yeah, it's a very practical car for daily use and for even occasional out-of-town adventures like this. So there you have it, guys. What an enjoyable drive with this fun little hatchback, the Honda Brio RS. So now it's time for us to give our ratings for this vehicle. Let's start with performance. So under the hood is a 1.2-liter naturally aspirated inline-4 engine. Not a lot of power, just enough torque for you to get up to speed in the city and keep pace with traffic on the highway. That's not really the point of this car. It's still fun to drive. Performance-wise, 8 out of 10. Handling. The suspension consists of McPherson struts up front and a torsion beam suspension at the back. Very simple, but the tires, these Bridgestone Potenza tires, make up for that. Very grippy. Feels like a go-kart on twisty roads, guys. So handling, 9.5 out of 10. Now let's talk about utility. Utility-wise, you get the Honda Brio RS to move your family, to move your friends. Not really to carry a lot of things, but there is a lot of space at the back, lots of legroom, lots of headroom. It's adjustable. The seats are comfy despite just being fabric. They're well bolstered and well supported. So utility-wise, I'm going to give this thing a 9 out of 10. Now let's talk about styling. So I'm a big fan of Honda's hatchbacks. I've owned the Jazz in the past, and I've long wanted to have a Brio in my garage. And if I were to get the Brio, it might as well be this one. Because, I mean, it really looks aggressive. It looks sporty. I like the bodywork on this RS trim, the aggressive wide bumper here on the side and the side skirts, as well as the wheels and the back with a diffuser-like thing. Very nice and very sporty. Styling-wise, for me, 10 out of 10. Now for value for money. So now the Brio RS, just like many other Honda's vehicles, is a bit expensive. This one is priced around 850,000 pesos, which is a bit steep for a small segment A hatchback like this. But then again, you are getting a lot of car for your money. You're getting, of course, you're getting a Honda. You're getting bulletproof performance, bulletproof reliability, fit and finish that you know will last you decades. So yeah, because of that, I think value for money is still a solid 8 out of 10. So now for our overall rating for the Honda Brio RS. So the Brio RS for me is a good all-rounder for the city. It's the perfect first car if you're new to car ownership. It's the perfect addition to your garage if you're looking for a car to use during coding days or, for bringing the kids to school. I think it just fits the bill perfectly no matter what point in life you're in. Unless, of course, you're looking for a 7-seater. Nevertheless, it's a very strong, very good offering in the segment A hatchback segment. So I'm going to give it a solid 9 out of 10. There you have it, guys. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to stay tuned to the Garage and Ride By for the full written review of this car. Like, comment, share, and subscribe to your YouTube channel. Thanks for watching, and see you in the next one.